president reiterates that a collective effort is needed in order for the nation to overcome challenges. Attorney General's Department opposes the granting of bail to the former chairman of Rakshaka Lanka Limited and the chairman of Avantgarde Security Services Private Limited. Parliamentarian Nama Rajapaksa charges that the law is not being expedited with regard to the bond scam. 1.4 kilograms of heroin seized aboard an aircraft that arrived at the BIA from Maldives. The former Maldives president says that he will take Minister Arjuna Ranatunga as an example and renegotiate the deals his country has with China. The Sports First Platinum Award ceremony gets underway at the Stein Studios in Ratmalana.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Primetime News, coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. I'm Krishan Devasagayam.
And I'm Bernadine Jazz Singh. A very good evening to you. Let's now take a look at your stories in detail. An exhibition titled Sustainable Lanka was inaugurated by President Maithripala Sirisena at the BMICH today. The event is organized parallel to the Toxin-Free Nation 3-year plan and in accordance with the Sustainable Development Goals announced by the United Nations.
Exhibition comprised of over 1,000 stalls from the private sector and the public sector. The stalls will cover areas from toxin-free food, eradicating poverty, agriculture, health, education, women's empowerment, water energy, employment, industries and various other sectors. The exhibition will be held till the 4th of next month.
අපේ රටේ සංවර්ධනයේදී අපි මුහුණ දෙන අභියෝග කුමක්ද කියන එක ඔබ දන්නවා.
You know the challenges we face when it comes to developing our country. On one hand, we have issues in the economic front. On the other, the international trade has decreased. We all have to work together to defeat these challenges and become victorious. We have to work like one group. Other countries have developed because of courage, willpower and the concepts they possess. When we look at 2017, we are behind on the plans we had in the agricultural sector and in the production sector as a result of the drought. Some people were waiting till the drought destroyed the country and the government along with it. But with the blessings of Mother Nature, we did not have to face such an unfortunate situation. When working towards achieving development goals, it is important to face risks, take up challenges and identify problems. All of us have to understand these backgrounds when developing the nation. Therefore, we must not go behind criticism and comments. We must not answer them. We have a plan.
විවේචන සහ චෝදනා පසුවස නෙවෙයි. ඒවට පිළිතුරු දීමට නෙවෙයි. ඒවට විසඳුම් සොයන්නට නෙවෙයි.
Pakistani national arrested with heroin worth over 50 million rupees. Pakistani national arrested with 2 kilograms of heroin at the BIA. Individual who attempted to smuggle 5 packets of heroin within his body arrested. Indian national arrested with heroin worth over 10 million rupees. Indian national who smuggled 838 grams of heroin arrested.
While large hauls of drugs have been apprehended in the recent past, yet another large haul of heroin was discovered aboard a Colombo-bound flight from the Maldives.
According to the Customs Department, the haul of drugs is worth over 10 million rupees. The stock of drugs was discovered from within the toilet of a Fly Dubai aircraft.
1.3 kilograms of heroin worth 14 million rupees was seized from the FZ550 Fly Dubai aircraft.
The drugs were presented before the Negombo Magistrates Court today and an order was issued by the magistrate to hand over the drugs to the Police Anti-Narcotics Bureau in Colombo. According to police, the culprits involved in the drug racket are yet to be identified and investigations have commenced.
Views on the false rumors regarding the gazette notification of forest lands adjoining the Vilpatha Reserve were expressed during a media briefing held today.
Areas outlined here are lands which belong to the reserve. The area highlighted in yellow is where houses have been built by the Muslim community. There is a false notion that these homes and their places of worship have been included in this order. We clearly state areas belonging to the forest reserve will be taken care of. The areas where settlements have been established have been separated from this. There is a radical attempt to create divisions and cause another extremist situation. The President is concerned by this. This gazette was issued by the President with the noble cause of protecting our natural reserves. This is not an attempt to disrupt resettlement or to deny the Muslim community of their lands. By creating such a conservation area, there is no effort to evict anyone. However, if there continues to be concerns, they can be raised and the gazette can be amended.
You're watching Primetime News on TV1. Up next is Action TV.
This plot of land located in the DR Vijayawardena Mawatha in the heart of Colombo was at the centre of an Action TV expose of the past 2 days. Action TV revealed that through the lease agreement on this plot of land, the state suffered a staggering loss of 1,800 million rupees. If this corrupt lease agreement is not scrapped, it will simply prove the fact that such large-scale scams take place in broad daylight based on personal whims and fancies. Action TV will remain vigilant.
Issues have cropped up when identifying an investor to construct a 300-megawatt combined cycle power plant in Kerawalapitia. The plant is to be converted into a liquid natural gas power station after 3 years of its construction, while a third party will be required to provide the LNG for the plant.
Bids had been called for the construction of a 300-megawatt combined cycle power plant at Kerawalapitia on BOOT basis. The plan is to convert the plant into an LNG power plant after running it for 3 years as a diesel power plant. The Technical Evaluation Committee had written to the Cabinet-appointed Procurement Committee with several issues that have been raised by the bidders. The main issue, among others, is that the LNG for the plant will have to be provided by a third party. There are issues when deciding the timeline of when the LNG will be available. Minister Ranjit Siyambalapitia and myself produced a cabinet paper to obtain approval to construct a LNG terminal in the Kerawalapitia area. This had the signature of Minister Arjuna Ranatunga as well. Thereby, we will take steps to provide the country with the terminal which is owned by the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, the CEB and the Ports Authority together with an investor. The investments in the LNG sector will be carried out by the Petroleum Corporation and the CEB in the future. Meanwhile, Dr. Suren Batagoda, the Secretary to the Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy, who is also a member of the Cabinet-appointed Procurement Committee, has written a letter in this regard to the Chairman of the Ceylon Electricity Board. The letter states that the government is currently in the process of selecting a developer for the LNG terminal and a regasification plant. The letter further states that the government is certain that gas will be available to operate the Kerawalapitia proposed combined cycle power plant from the third year onward. Dr. Batagoda has asked that the prospective bidders be informed of this matter. We are going ahead with the plan. We have solutions to all the challenges we have before us. There is no reason to panic. We have called for tenders and a number of countries have joined us in this matter. However, experts in the energy sector point out that the cost involved in the process will be high when two parties are to initiate the project. When this is broken down into two, the combined cycle power plant will be one company and the company that will provide the gas will be another group. When that happens, you cannot receive the correct price. This is a weak mechanism. When they try to call bids for the combined cycle power plant and when they try to settle the amounts, there will be questions on where the LNG will be coming from. They now have to call for bids in parallel. There is a practical issue as to whether we will be able to calculate the real amount of this project when this is broken down into two. The value of the complete investment stood over $3,700 million. Certain private companies pledged before the President to do this investment and to fulfill the electricity requirement of the country. They also promised to generate electricity at a lower cost or at a cost that is 1/4 of the current price. But the current Secretary to the Ministry of Power is obstructing this. While obstructing these efforts, Suren Batagoda is trying to spend over 6 billion rupees for a small power plant that can generate only 30 megawatts of power. This is a serious situation. Sri Lanka is moving into a power crisis in Asia. We are paying more than $10 for 1 metric ton of coal due to the actions of Suren Batagoda. The chairman of the CEB recently stated that there is a need to increase electricity bills as the result of this. If the LNG power plant is also constructed according to the whims of the Secretary of Power, there will be a need to increase the prices once again. There were 3 companies who came forward to invest in this sector in 2016 alone. Suren Batagoda stopped all of it from happening. He is trying to carry out scams in the diesel power industry, similar to what was done through coal power generation as well. He is trying to rob the people's money.
මේ රටේ ජනතාවගේ විදුලි පාරිභෝගිකයාගේ මඩිය තමන්ගේ සාක්කුවට දමා ගැනීමේ ව්‍යාපෘතියකට.
There is a great deal of discussion regarding a possible shake-up in the UNP.
According to several newspaper reports, several new appointments will take place in the United National Party based on the decisions of the party's working committee. Based on these reports, the number of assistant leaders of the UNP will be increased to 3. Sarath Fonseca is expected to take up one slot, while another is expected to be awarded to a member representing a minority community. There are also reports that there will be a change in the party's deputy leader position. The newspaper reports also state that there could be changes made to the positions of Party General Secretary and Deputy General Secretary.
As a party that spent 20 years in the opposition, we face many challenges when we come into power. We felt that it is important to create new positions in order to share this weight and responsibility. There are some party leaders who joined us. We need to give them some prominence. Sarath Fonseca is one of them.
The UNP says that they will make Sarath Fonseca an assistant leader in the party. This is not because they love Fonseca. This is a misdirection to draw attention away from Akila Viraj Karyavasam being appointed as the General Secretary. Sarath Fonseca's name has been thrown in order to quell the protests that may arise. Earlier, there was a leadership council that was created. Karu Jayasuriya was appointed to this committee. However, nothing happened. What did the leadership of the UNP do? Whenever there was an election, did any of these leaders get a chance to contest? A government has come into power, yet the people still suffer. How long are they going to continue this facade? Before the 2010 presidential election results were released, who went before the media and the elections commissioner and said that the election was free and fair? It was Ranil Wickremesinghe. Sarath Fonseca had not lost the election by then. They were still counting the votes. Long before the results were released, Ranil Wickremesinghe conceded defeat on behalf of Sarath Fonseca. Why is Akila Viraj being made the General Secretary? Aren't there any other seniors in the party? Aren't there people who have sacrificed more for the party? Why are they acting in an unfair manner? It is because of such unfair acts that the party suffered a decline.
Now let's take a look at the latest from the courts.
2 more suspects allegedly connected to the Kaluthara prison bus shooting were remanded until the 7th of April after they were produced before the Negombo Magistrates Court today. Police said that the 2 suspects were arrested in Moratua and Bandaragama. Police said the suspects were arrested on the charge of stealing the van used in the attack from Sidua, fixing false number plates and hiding the vehicle that was to be used in the crime. The fake number plates used by the suspects were seized by officials of the Paliagoda Anti-Crimes Unit. Police further noted that the burnt remnants of the clothes used by the suspects to carry out the attack were found in the Kindalpitia area. The Kadwala magistrate granted permission to police yesterday to further detain the luxury vehicle that allegedly belonged to MP Namal Rajapaksa. The current owner, W.M. Shanti, requested court that the vehicle, a Ford Mustang, be released. However, the police FCID opposed the request since investigations with regard to the vehicle which was seized under the Money Laundering Act have not been completed. Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Motor Traffic informed court yesterday that an investigation is being held with regard to the missing documents pertaining to the Ford Mustang in question. The magistrate ordered the Commissioner of Motor Traffic to appear before the police FCID next Monday along with the relevant officials and provide a progress report on the matter. While this luxury vehicle was discovered in a vehicle yard in Kadwala in September 2016, police investigations revealed that the vehicle was purchased using the duty-free permit of MP Namal Rajapaksa. The Attorney General's Department objected to bail being granted to former chairman of Rakna Arakshaka Lanka Limited, Major General Palitha Fernando, and chairman of Avantgarde Security Services Private Limited, Major Nisanka Senadipati. The Bribery Commission appealed to the Colombo High Court against the Colombo Chief Magistrate's decision to grant bail. Senior State Counsel Janaka Bandara stated before Colombo High Court Judge Amal Ranraja that the former Colombo Chief Magistrate had granted bail to the said personnel without duly considering the provisions of the Bribery Act. The Senior State Counsel pointed out to court that granting bail to individuals who were taken into custody on the grounds of such serious charges creates a suspicion among the public regarding bribery investigations, adding that the former Chief Magistrate had given a wrong precedent to the public. Senior State Counsel Janaka Bandara also informed court that investigations have revealed that Nisanka Senadipati had deposited 35.5 million rupees to the account of former chairman of Rakna Arakshaka Lanka Limited on 6 different occasions during the year 2012. The hearing of the case was postponed until the 15th of May.
Meanwhile, parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa arrived at the Special Presidential Commission to investigate into large-scale corruption today.
Namal Rajapaksa arrived at the commission to provide information with regard to alleged corruption that took place at the National Youth Services Council. The alleged corruption took place between 2005 and 2010. Definitely not. These need to be looked into. Now, those responsible for the bond scam are also launching a media institution. They are acquiring journalists by paying them large salaries, so it will be good if this government can investigate those acts as well. However, in the midst of all of this, we will see the dawn of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year. With the high prices of goods, it will be nice if the government can reduce the prices of goods. The public cannot fill their stomachs just because Namal is put behind bars. Not just my father. If someone has committed a wrong, it is wrong. However, the rogues of the government of good governance need to be apprehended. Those responsible for the central bank bond scam are globe-trotting and acquiring media institutions, newspapers and radio stations. However, no one in the government speaks about this. By the time the report of the commission is released, half of Sri Lanka's wealth will belong to Aloysius and there won't be anything more to speak about it.
An event to create awareness on progress made by the workshops held in 22 districts about the importance of women's political participation in provincial level was held in Colombo this morning.
The event organised by the Centre for Policy Alternatives was held under the auspices of Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government, Faiza Mustafa.
I say even in this government there are shortcomings, but I think we are the best alternative at the moment. I mean, every government has shortcomings, but when you do a marriage, we are neither a forced marriage or a love marriage. The public of this country has told that both parties will tie you all together, work together. So when you are tied together and you are forced to work together, it is not easy as when you want to work together. Very rarely you see two parties getting together and working for a period of 5 years. When next election, each party is waiting to cut their throat and capture power. That is the realistic approach.
The practice of having women candidates, women members of our elected bodies, and then providing them the responsibility of taking on ministerial portfolios. This has happened in the past, but insufficiently. I think I have been criticized in the past when I have said that don't put too much of emphasis on educational qualifications. After all, in South Asia, quite often it has been the case that the people without the O-levels and the A-levels and the degrees are the ones who've come and saved democracy when it has needed to be saved. And very often it is the one with the degrees who have ruined the country because they've had the expertise, the ability to know how to accumulate power and consolidate it for their own purposes.
The Postgraduate Institute of Humanities and Social Sciences of the University of Peradeniya held a seminar this morning. The Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, attended the event as its chief guest.
The government is doing a lot of work in terms of the investment climate, investment promotion, trade facilitation and trade policy. In terms of the investment climate, the World Bank's Doing Business Index has 10 pillars. And the government has set up task forces around each of those pillars, comprising all the government entities which operate on that pillar. And the idea there is to see whether one can deregulate, whether one can reduce the number of steps, whether one can infuse technology to make things better. There's going to be a new incentive scheme. Tax holidays have been stopped. The new Inland Revenue law will incorporate incentives which are focused on investment, on capital formation. So it's no longer tax holidays on profits. You get incentives when you invest. Finally, trade policy. most controversial, also potentially the most beneficial. As part of the trade policy work of the government, they are in the process of developing a national trade policy framework, which will set out the government's trade policy. In addition, there is a trade adjustment package that is being put together with the assistance of the World Bank and the International Trade Center. That is going to be designed to assist our companies to become more competitive and our workers to acquire the skills.
When university can't forget about research, in that sense, we are responsible for the development of this country. Because it's not politicians, it's the researchers. We know, but the allocation for research in this country is very minimal. It is common in Southeast Asia as well, but still we have to struggle within that to give something back to country in research. We are responsible for that, definitely.
Former President of the Republic of Maldives, Mohammad Nasheed, says that he would renegotiate projects funded by China in his country.
Speaking to foreign correspondents in Colombo, the former president had stated that the renegotiation will be done after the 2018 presidential elections. He has stated that he will learn from the experience of Sri Lankan Ports Minister Arjuna Ranatunga in renegotiating the deal with regard to the Hambantota port. The former Maldivian leader has stated that China was not transparent in its dealings and that it preferred to work with authoritarian regimes.
The annual convocation ceremony of the Gateway Graduate School took place in Colombo yesterday.
Diplomas, special awards and degrees were awarded to students who had completed their degree courses and had performed exceptionally well during the last academic year.
In this latest era of so-called, education, 21st century learning, we speak of skills such as creativity, critical thinking, and dear students, you have to understand, way back in the 5th century BC, I'm sure we had great creativity and critical thinking. Sri Lanka needs a better future, and that can be given only by you.
During a media briefing held today, former Minister Basit Rajapaksa stated that the Pudujana Exat Peramuna has been given access to the Gulf Green for their May Day rally.
We wrote the first request letter on the 2nd of February. We gave a constant reminder on the 11th of March. We received a response. They said we cannot have it as it is for a political purpose. But the Minister of Ports had informed the company and stated the importance of the rally to mark May Day. As the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, we are happy that this ground was granted to us. We have requested permission from the police and we have already made the arrangements for this plot of land. We hope to bring in 3 people per square meter. Of land. We expect a crowd between 110 to 200,000.
ඉතින් අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා 2,00,000ක පමණ පිරිසක් මේකට සහභාගී වෙන්න අපිට දන්නලා තියෙනවා මේ වෙනකොට.
කියන්නේ මේ රැලි වලට බස් වලින් වත්නවා කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ. චෝදනා කරන්නේ දෙකද. ජනතාව කැමැත්තෙන් ඔබතුමා කියන ඒ ගාන එයිද දෙන්න.
ඉතින් මහජනයා කියන්නේ අපිට ඉන්න මහජනයා ඉතින් කාර් නැහැ. ඉතින් බස් වලින් තමයි එන්න වෙන්නේ.
එතකොට එදාට හිටපු ජනාධිපති මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මහත්මයාත් සභාව එදා
ඔව් එතුමාගේ ප්‍රධානත්වයෙන් තමයි තියන්නේ.
හිටපු අමාත්‍යවරයෙක් කරන මොහොන් සිල්වා මහත්මයා මේවල නව පක්ෂයක් හදන්න හදනවා. ඔබතුමා පක්ෂයට සම්බන්ධ වෙන්න හැදුවොත් බාර ගන්නවද?
පක්ෂයට අපේ පක්ෂය ගත යුතු තීන්දුවක්. ඉතින් ඒ ඉල්ලුම් පත්‍රය වන්න.
Sri Lanka Sports Oscars, the sport's first Platinum Awards, is currently underway at the resplendent Stein Studios in Ratmalana. Let's now cross over to Stein Studios to catch the live action.
සාමාන්‍යයෙන් රෝගය හැදුනම ඇවිදින්නවත් බෑ මාසයක් යනකම්. තාම රෝගීන් මට ඇවිල්ලා බෙහෙත් ගන්නවා. ඉතින් මං හිතුවා මං කිව්වා මේ මෙතුමියට දුවන්න බෑ. මේ වෙන කියලා දැනුම් දෙන්න කියලා මම ගියා. ගිහිල්ලා මම වාහනේ යනකොට රේඩියෝ එක ඔන් කරුවම සුසන්තිකා ඉන්ටර්විව් එකක් දෙනවා. මම මේක දුවලා කොහොම හරි දිනනවා කියලා. ඉතින් ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම එතුමිය දුවලා ලෝකට පදක්කමක් රිදී පදක්කමක් දිනාගත්ත ආසියානු තරඟය. ඒක තමයි ක්‍රීඩකයෙකුට තිබිය යුතු ධෛර්යය සහ අධිෂ්ඨානය. ඒකට අපි ගරු කරනවා.
අපි බලමු කවුද මෙම තරඟේ ජයග්‍රහණය ලබාගෙන අවස්ථාව ලබාගෙන තියෙන කියලා.
නාම යෝජනා.
The nominees are the Unichala Women's Boxing Team, Sangamita Girls Hockey Team from Matale, Kandy Sports Club Rugby Team.
Well, on that note, we wrap up Primetime News. I'm Krishan Devasagayam.
And I'm Bernadine Jayasinghe. Good night. Take care.